I wanted to give an overview of our water system. We are off-grid as far as water goes. What that means is we collect rainwater and we store it in an above-ground cistern or plastic tanks. So you can see on this section of the house, I have about 2/3 of the roof with a gutter. The very front portion, there's no good way to get that connected in here without blocking. It's a little bit lower down, so it would have to block. So we just collect off of the front section there. This pipe runs over to here. Now, as you can see, we have a second roof. This house has been added on to a few times in the past, so the peak of the roof there comes down. This water will drip onto the lower shed roof, or garage roof. I call it the garage, even though we don't really use it for that. Then we get the water collected off of a gutter on this side. So there's a gutter all along the length. So this gutter is actually catching all the water from the peak down to there. And that water comes back, they meet up here, and then they go through the wall. I will show you where that goes here momentarily. While we're out here though, show you a couple of key features that I came up with here. First of all, the angles on this are way off, so it's just the way it worked out. It's a little tricky, but because it's rainwater, it's not under pressure. This actually holds together okay. Screws to hold it together. I did not glue anything in case I need to redo anything. And this cap is actually important because if for some reason I have to take the system offline, I can take this cap off and it will just dump water outside. It will not go through the pipe. Also, this cap has a pinhole in the bottom of it. That allows water to drain out of this so that I don't have a frozen plug here in the wintertime. So, we'll go around in the garage. You can see my gutters here. I've also got some of that gutter screening, which keeps most of the leaves out. I do not have that in the front. I need to install it in the front, but I don't have that yet. So this is our garage. So these are just swinging doors. Right now, it's housing a tractor project. But the key thing about this garage is that it is pitch black. Camera may be picking up on some little cracks of light here and there. Yeah, and I haven't really shut the door perfectly well. It's still cracked open there. But when it's shut, this stays dark. That's important. Having a dark room to store your water in, or having painted tanks or black tanks, keeps algae from growing in the water. So here's some light. And here is our system. We have 3 tanks. This one here is a 550-gallon tank. This one I believe is 425. It says right there. And this one is, what is this? 325. So we put all these 3 together. Now, as you can see, the biggest tank sits flat on the floor. We actually have a little bit of concrete here. It does not extend all the way out here. This one is supported a little bit higher up, but you can see the tanks are roughly level with each other. This one's a little bit higher, just a little bit. And then this one had to be supported a lot because it's the smallest tank, so it's raised up quite a bit. But all 3, and you'll see this if I get down level with it, all 3 of the tops of the tanks are roughly level. So that's important because you want to, all of these are equalized. All these are open to each other. As the water level increases, the tanks will fill up together and they will overflow at the same time. If you have one that's slightly lower than the other 2, it will start overflowing out of its spout before the other 2 are completely full. In fact, that's what's happening with this one. It's not supported quite well enough. The weight of the tank is starting to collapse it a little bit. So you can see it's not sitting quite level. So this tank, for the short term, I actually keep shut off full of water so that we have the water if we need it, but most of the time I don't have to worry about it overflowing before the other 2 get full. So the other 2 will be slightly fuller to a higher level than this one is. And you can do that if you have shutoffs. Each of these tanks has its own shutoff. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there. And I connect them all with a pipe between. This is just 2-inch PVC. And then we have a standpipe here. Now this standpipe is what distributes the water to all 3 of the other tanks. The water level will be level to the top of each of the tanks when it's raining. And when everything's full, it will actually go through this pipe and then tip over the edge out the overflow. This is adjustable, okay? The angle of this can be adjusted. That's why we have this rubber coupling here. This can be unscrewed, adjusted angle-wise, and then this is flexible enough to accommodate several different angles. So I can fine-tune the level of the tanks over time as I say, oh, it's not quite full, we could stand a little more, or oh no, we had a really heavy rain, and even though it normally would be fine, you know, it came in so fast that the tanks were fuller than they should have been, so we'll drop the level a little bit. So this is adjustable for that. I also did cut a little air gap here because I did notice on one extremely heavy rain that it actually siphoned. So because this was all watertight, it would siphon out some water out of one of the tanks. So be sure you have a little bit of an air bleed at the top if you're going to do this system. So what is this thing? I've showed this before. Some of you may have seen it. This is my Wissy water filter. This is pretty much the heart of the system. It's not a cheap piece of kit, but this is where the magic happens. So this is how we take rainwater straight off the roof. Even through those that screening that I have on the gutter, you still get some crud. It comes, it swirls around, it flows over the edge, and then that screen is a very fine mesh. I think 280 micron is what can pass through it. The water goes through, the crud stays behind, and then eventually goes down in the big hole, which is connected out the side there and goes out to the drain. So that comes outside, along with the overflow. So the overflow is also connected in with that same drain. Also, this tube here is our washing machine drain. So we do not run the washing machine drain water into our sewer or into our septic system. It just runs straight outside. So that saves a pretty heavy load on our septic. So yeah, this is the magic. This keeps all the yuck. This keeps our water clean enough to store for long periods of time without getting really nasty. So right now, to figure out how much water we have to add it up. So, okay, somebody flushed the toilet. This is a good chance to look at this. We have our Sureflow pump here. This is 12 volt DC RV pump. It pulls 7.5 amps, and it'll make 55 pounds of pressure. But what it's doing right now, and you'll hear it start to lower in pitch as it refills the toilet tank and then refills the well tank, is it's building pressure in a very small well tank. It's sucking water out of this tank here. So you can see the hose there. Goes down inside. The water's not as murky as it looks. My camera's being a little funny. There is a layer of sediment all the way at the bottom, so yeah, getting this thing to focus correctly is interesting. But in any case, that's the raw water out of the Wissy. So good enough to store. It stays clear. You will get a layer of sediment at the bottom, and you will get just a little bit of algae growth. You know, nothing's perfect, but keeping the light out really, really helps. Again, these are clear tanks, so sunlight in here would be very bad news. So anyway, I was saying about the level. This is 200 gallons, a little less than that. This one, the level's actually in here. This was a mistake I made when I laid it out. This one I think is 300, so it's a little over 3. So between those two, we've got about 500, and then this tank is full, so that's another 300. So if we've got about 850 gallons of capacity right now. Completely full, the system will do about 1,200 gallons. So we're doing okay on water. We're well over half full. It's going to rain half an inch tomorrow. So in times like this, when we have plenty of water, and it's going to rain even more, when we get half an inch of rain, we have a theoretical collection capacity of 500 gallons. So this system will be full up if we get that much actual rain. So what I like to do is use the water ahead, planning for that rain so that there's room in the tanks to store it, because once the tanks are full, you don't get to keep any more water. So we tend to preload a bunch of laundry and stuff. We're going to go through here. Hey, kitty cat. I'll have to excuse some of the mess around here. We just went through a major flood. We had 2 feet of water in this basement, so things are all over the place. So in any case, that Sureflow pump builds up pressure against the well tank. What that means is it doesn't have to keep kicking on all the time. So when I turn on a faucet, you don't immediately hear the pump. So we have the kitchen sink here. There's some dishes to wash. Normal flow, but no pump yet. Also, while we're at the sink here, I will show you the drinking water system we have. So under the sink, I have a pre-filter, which is about ready to get changed. That is just a polystyrene, I think. Anyway, it's just a plastic extruded filter. So it's bulk. It filters any little particles out, and then it goes through this ceramic filter. That's the important part. The only thing you have to worry about from rainwater is bacteria, but bacteria cannot pass through a ceramic filter. Viruses can pass through a ceramic filter, but I'm not really that worried about viruses on my roof. So we have a normal electric water heater here. I did all the plumbing in this house, so I decided to go with PEX. The cold water coming up there, the big blue pipe comes up, that is coming directly from the water pump. So pressurizes up here, you have it goes over to here and then comes back as hot water, and then it distributes out. So all the cold is on this side, all the hot's on this side. I have individual valves here, as well as most of the fixtures have valves as well. So I need to label all these as to what they actually are, but I know what they are. Little room for expansion there. This is the well tank. Little bitty guy. Not even as big as a 5-gallon bucket. But that makes a huge difference. You don't have to run that, but the Sureflow pump will kick on and off multiple times as you're running it if you don't. So it'll go in quick succession. If you're running partial, if you just turn on the faucet a little bit, then it'll run really quickly. We run a regular old washing machine. This is old-fashioned. This used to be my mom. She bought it in about 2000. So what do we got here? Just regular clothes. Okay, cold water. I don't bother running it in hot. A large load. This will probably use about 30 gallons of water for the cycle. We can afford that. We have the rain. This saves us hand washing. We do have the capacity to hand wash. You can see our wringer up here on top of the fridge, as well as our wash buckets. Some stuff my wife does still like to hand wash, so we can wash in a bucket here. We've got a couple of rub boards there. This is an antique one, actually. This is an old glass one, so that's really cool. But most of the time, honestly, clothes don't get that dirty, so they don't actually need scrubbed that hard. They just need soap and rinsed. So now you hear the pump, you hear that humming. That is the pump having kicked in because we depleted the pressure out of that well tank, but it took that long. You can get about a gallon of water out before that kicks in, and it will run until the washer's done filling and this tank is refilled. And it's really been a nice improvement having that well tank. So we'll leave this in peace. I will show you this again. Now that the washer is running, of course, there's very little pressure here. So that pump is not made to run multiple things at a time. And this, you get a little water out. You hear the pump picked up a bit. Honestly, though, the way I wash dishes uses so little water that that's plenty for me. I don't need a huge stream of water to keep washing things. But I wash all the dishes here by hand. There's no dishwasher in our kitchen. I find that it uses the same or less water as a dishwasher would, and it actually gets stuff clean. So I like having clean dishes. That's pretty much it. So I will let that washing machine run. It will it will run and cycle out, and like I said, the drain water just goes outside, and then tomorrow we'll have about a half an inch of rain fill us back up. I'll make a separate video showing the electrical stuff that I've been doing. We've got a off-site or an off-grid setup for running a portable generator wired into the house, so that's pretty cool. But for right now, I just want to cover the water system. Oh, I guess I'll show you what we have for a bathroom here while I'm filming. So, bathroom sink, just standard hot and cold running water. I built this bathroom. It's small, but you know, it's just a standard setup. There's nothing fancy here. We're not trying to do Navy style showers or anything. You don't have to do that, you know, if you have enough storage capacity. This here I do like because the center switch to go top to bottom is 180 degrees. So if you want to stop the shower, you just put it in the middle. So the water, you know, you have water down here and it stops. So you can have your Navy style showers if you really wanted to. If it ever got down to it and I just did not want to buy water for some reason, we were really conserving, then I would do that. But anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.